got here? Free tickets? Well, Rocky has a message for everybody. He wants to announce that he is giving away free tickets for the Coastal Carolina game. Wow. Well, they were free, not free to you though. I understand you had to pay for them. Rocky is giving away 100 free tickets to the Toledo versus Coastal Carolina game this Saturday. The first 50 people in line on this Wednesday at noon, will receive 2 free tickets to the game. All fans in line between noon and 2 may purchase up to 4 tickets at half price. Do I got that right, Rocky? Half price is $12, in case anyone knows. So that's Wednesday at the Savage Arena ticket office. Noon is when they'll start. Rocky will give away the first 50 people in line 2 free tickets, and then everybody in line, if you get in line by 2, gets up to 4 tickets at half price. I hope I got that right, Rocky. Well, thanks a lot. How are you paying for these, Rocky? Okay, that's what I thought so. All right. Well, thanks a lot, Rocky. Go Rockets. Don't forget your tickets. Don't lose those. My son lost his ticket at the game Saturday. They found it.
Just to finish off on last week, I will say it was a really hard-fought, tough victory for our football team, and I couldn't be prouder of our 19 seniors. I thought the leadership of our football team was outstanding through all 60 minutes of the football game, and I'm extremely proud of not only the coaches but the players, and I thought it was a great win. And as anything, it's off on to next week, and we've got a great opponent coming in here. Their first 3 football games, when you watch the video, you've got great respect for this football team. You see them on defense. They run around extremely well. They're led by a great all-conference defensive end and 2 really good inside linebackers. And then offensively, they have got a tremendous quarterback, a young man that is a transfer in there, and a young man that I believe is up for the National Player of the Year in FCS football this year, and a young man that makes all the plays. He's got the ability to run and throw, and we have tremendous respect for this team coming in, and it'll be a great opponent for Saturday night. And with that said, I'll open up to any questions.
Will it be tough to motivate the guys coming off the big BG win? You have Coastal Carolina doing. Will it be tough for you think to motivate your guys this week?
No, I don't think it will be. I think one of the things that I'm really proud of this football team and why I really put a lot of credit to our team, to our 19 seniors, is I think everybody said it was going to be tough to go out to Arizona. And then I think everybody said, well, Coach, how you guys going to go to back out west and go to Wyoming? And then everybody said, well, how you going to come off 2 road trips and play your rival? And so I think one of the things that this team has is it has great leadership. And the leadership is all about our seniors. And they've done a great job leading this football team, and I expect them to do the same this week.
Maybe not surprised, but how impressed are you with the way your team has played the first 3 weeks of the season? You know, you being this your first year as head coach and losing some of the talent that you guys had last year. I mean, how the team has performed to your expectations so far?
Well, so far, the leadership of our football team is something that we've worked really hard on cultivating over the last 9 months. And it's something that, we have good offensive players. We have good defensive players. We have good special teams players. And we've had that here. But one of the things that we've really tried to divulge into is becoming one team. And I think through 3 football games, the leadership of our football team on every facet of it is outstanding. And that's why I'm so proud about Saturday night, is it wasn't just the offense, it wasn't just the defense. It was the offense, it was the defense, it was the special teams. All were responsible for that victory.
Injuries, best, far,
Far, we assume will still be out this week. We do hope to get Danny back sometime this season, I will say that. Byron Best right now is probably about his day-to-day. We hope he's potential for Saturday night, definitely not out for sure, and anxious that's the news because it certainly could have been worse than that.
That's a knee, right?
Knee, yes.
It looked like Elijah Jones got tweaked towards the end of the game as well.
Yeah, Elijah finished the game. He's fine. All those guys are back, and Christian was another one that went out in the second quarter, was certainly back in the end of the football game. So great to come out of that game clean and have everybody back with us.
You mentioned last week that, the MAC, it doesn't matter who you guys open with, whether it's BG or anybody else.
Well, it's the first MAC game, which is huge. It's your rival, and it's our first home football game, and so all those factors are in it are great. But for us, it's the next step, and we have really worked on the process that it takes to become a very good football team. And so at the end of the day, it's a great win. It was a great environment. We appreciate all those things, but it was back to work yesterday, and there's a lot of things we need to continue to work on if we want to get where we want to go.
Can you talk about Cheatham a little bit? Because I know at the beginning of the season you said you were trying to move around and get him on the field because he's one of your best players on defense.
Well, Cheatham Norrells is a young man that's got great athletic ability, and he's got the potential to be as good as he wants to be. And the one thing I really appreciate about what Cheatham's done is over the last 9 months, and a lot of credit goes to not only Cheatham but some of those great seniors around him that play in the secondary, he has decided to become an extremely good football player. How he's practiced, how he trained in the off season, what he's done through fall camp, and I think he's really played very steady and very consistent through the first 3 football games and had a great game for us Saturday night. And I'm really proud of Cheatham because he's not only is a great young man off the field or on the field, but he's a great character young man off the field.
When you're bouncing him back from safety to corner, can that delay his development? And how do you try to make up for lost time?
Yeah, maybe. I think one of the things that it just depends what you play in the secondary, what kind of coverages that you play. And, when Tuke came in and we sat down, we looked at the depth chart, we looked at what our roster looked like, and we always talk about who are our best 11 players, and let's make sure we're getting our best 11 players on the field. We were fortunate we were getting Mark back, and we had Jermaine coming back at safety, and, we knew Cheatham was a young man that had exceptional talent. So let's try to find where he best fits. And, I thought they did a great job identifying, let's put him at corner, let's teach him let's continue his development in the secondary. And, again, a lot of credit goes to Cheatham, too, because it tells you his intelligence level and his ability to play both. But I think, it just depends what you play, Ryan, based on your success there.
T.O.'s had 2 great games.
Mhm.
Let's say he has another great game against Coastal Carolina. Does that put him basically in the driver's seat to be the starter the rest of the season?
Well, I think that's something we'll constantly look at. But again, one of the great things that we have here is we have 2 young men that have succeeded at such a high rate at quarterback. And I really believe that Terrence is playing extremely well right now. He's playing with great confidence. He started both games the last 2 weeks really coming out, playing steady, consistent, making some really good throws. And right now, we feel like I've always said, that I'm going to play the young man that gives us the best chance to be successful. And right now, Terrence is playing at such a high rate that he's the guy that will start the game. Again, we'll evaluate practice this week. Austin Danton, we have tremendous faith in. He's a young man that has played extremely well and won huge football games for us, and we know Austin will continue to do that for us in our program.
Can you walk me through Alonzo signed him, what? It would have been 2 years ago.
Yeah.
He had to go to a post-grad school.
Well, initially,
This year, last year, right?
right. We signed him from his postgraduate school, and there was a math class that deemed him a non-qualifier when he came to the University of Toledo, and so Alonzo had to sit out, pay his own way here, okay, and this is a young man that's an out-of-state tuition, pay his own way here at the University of Toledo. He did that. Alonzo's got a great story. Worked in the dorm last year just to financially make it for himself, and then unfortunately, with the rules being what they are with the NCAA, cannot truly be with our football team. And so, I give that young man great credit. He had a dream and a goal and a vision to be who he wanted to be, and was able to join our football team this summer full time, and has been fortunately for us, a very productive player so far this season.
What was his job?
You'll have to ask him, but I don't think. Yeah, that's true. His job, he. That's a good comment. Fair comment, Ryan. He worked in the basement of one of the residence halls, and worked a multitude of things. Security. It did a cafeteria, taking out some of the garbage, some of those kind of things. But again, my hat's off to that young man of his own story of persevering and making it here, and he did a great job of that.
You said you need to improve on some things. What are those things that you believe that you need to improve?
First of all, overall, it's consistency. we still have not put a product of 4 quarters of the best football we can play, and you're always striving to gain that. But I at times we played really good. The second half of Wyoming, I thought we were outstanding. I thought we came out really strong last Saturday. We hit a lull in the third quarter, that almost kind of let them creep back into the football game. And so when I look at it offensively, I certainly look at our ability to execute and finish drives in the red zone. Right now, for me, there's too many field goals, not enough touchdowns. And when I look at us defensively, it's continuing to improve on a new scheme. It's still a brand new scheme. You can see us getting better every week at it, but I think we have to really sit down, hone in on the details of what makes good football teams, and we got to continue to work on the process. That's football, and that's what makes great college football teams.
The MAC right now, if I challenge it, is 35 to 60 on field goals. I think you guys are a little better than that rate. Where do you have is there a cutoff point where you say, okay, we'll kick it, or we're going to go for it? I mean, I imagine it depends on how many yards you have to go, but I guess my point is kicking in college football is just so hit or miss.
Well, sure. Well, we're so fortunate here, Ryan, because JD is such a good kicker, and you look at his range from last year, he hit 54, 53, he's got such great range to him that he's exceptional when we put him out there. We've got great faith in him. And I think when you look at kicking overall, I think it goes down to recruiting a little bit and how you go through the process of what makes a good kicker. I think what does make a good kicker, one is I think it's certainly leg strength, but I think it's the development of the kicker. A kicker's a little bit like quarterback. And I think it's all the other intangibles that make that guy up. What's his mental toughness like? Is he a guy that's athletic? Does he have some ability to do some other things? And I think sometimes when you go through the recruiting process, it's what are you looking for in that guy and what do you expect him to be able to do? But I would agree with you. I think that it's such a huge part of the football game, and if you don't have that guy, boy, it can make life tough.
Was it, not to belabor the point, but when you bring in Donovan, who can do both, was that kind of the idea that one of the falls the punter, the kicker, we got
somebody there? Yeah, I think that's huge. And I know we went round and round about that. That's a scholarship that we use, and how do we best use that scholarship to the best of our football team's ability? But fortunately for us, Brad has the ability to do both of those and be a solid guy behind there, because you certainly don't want to be in a situation you lose one of those guys, and now all of a sudden, and I think we've been in that point in our program at times in years past where, geez, we didn't have anybody there, and it was a tough road to hoe. Yeah, I'm really proud of those guys. And anytime you lose three seniors on your offensive line, and not only 3 seniors, but 3 seniors that have played a lot of football, and all of a sudden now you have to bring in 3 new guys that have to play consistently for you. I think that's a challenge. But my hats go off to Zac Kerin, our center, and Greg Mance, our right guard. Those guys played a lot of football here for us. They're exceptional players. And I think when you have 2 guys like that are kind of lay the foundation of your groundwork there, and then they hold those other guys accountable and bring them up to their level, then I think you got a chance to be pretty successful. And I think we were fortunate that we got a chance to play those guys last year. A.J. Lineman played around 400 snaps, and he's looked like he's kind of taken right over at right tackle. Jeff Myers is a young man that played about 200 snaps last year for us, has done a really good job at left guard. And then Josh Hendershot, again, is a guy that played a little bit but has played really well through the first 3 games of the football season. So, again, that there was a drive in that football game in the fourth quarter, and there were 15. It was a 14-play drive and took up about 7 minutes of clock, 7+, and a lot of credit goes to that offensive line and their ability to kind of dominate there when we needed them to dominate.
Why run Owens with 2 plays? You take a timeout and then you run your course.
Yeah.
Frustrated at that point.
Yeah.
Susceptible to a cheap shot.
Well, yeah, I guess my thought was let's put the nail in the coffin. Let's finish the football game, And they had 1 timeout left. They were overloading the box, and my biggest thing was just trying to get out of there. Let the clock run down, or could have need. They had a timeout left though, and I didn't want to get into that situation. So that was our biggest thing, Ryan. And maybe it wasn't the best call, but at the end of the day, you sat back and looked at it, and I was still playing to win, and trying to finish the football game.
You guys have faced offenses so far this year that pretty much spread it out, but what do you do to try to stop a guy that's a dual threat like you're going to face this weekend? I mean, as a defense, what do you try to take away when a guy can even run the pass?
Great question. I think we first thing we have to do a great job of stopping the run. You win football games by stopping the run. And one of the things that we have faced now going into our fourth week is an offense that spreads you out to be successful. And I think it'll be another great challenge, because it's the fourth really good quarterback that I would say that we have had to face. And it kind of reminds me of the young man at Wyoming, strong. Has the ability to run, use his feet. When he gets out of the pocket, he can make things happen. So, again, it'll be a great test for our defense. Coach Tuke probably doesn't want to hear that again.
We normally ask the receivers this, but I'm going to ask the linemen this. Is there any type of difference when you have Owens and Daffy? Is there a different mindset for you, or a different rhythm with them?
Not really, because in practice the coaches do a good job of rotating them, so we get plenty of reps with both T.O. and Austin. And it's like Coach Campbell said, as an offense, we feel that we can move the ball with whoever's in there, so we don't really lose anything when T.O.'s in there or when Austin's in there.
When you guys look at an opponent that comes in, do you look at whether they're FBS or Division I or like Division I AA, like you got team coming in this weekend?
No, we take every opponent. We just look one game ahead, and this Coastal Carolina team is a very good team. Like Coach Campbell said, they have all-conference linebacker, all-conference DN, so we definitely can't take them lightly. I know last year we had New Hampshire, who also had a good defensive front, so we don't take any team lightly, whether they're FCS or FBS.
Did you guys as players last year know who Monty Russell was? Did you know that he was taking out trash in dorms?
No, we knew who he was. We saw him around a little bit, but we didn't know that he was – I didn't know that he was working his own job at the dorms and taking trash out and stuff, but, we're glad that he stuck around.
When did you realize that he could help you guys this year?
As soon as summer workouts started, as soon as you could start, working out with the team, catching balls, running routes, we knew that he was going to be a playmaker.
Yeah, from your perspective, what do you see as differences between this coaching staff with Matt Campbell being head coach and then last year with Tim Beck being head coach?
Oh, that's a tough question. I feel like the team is more upbeat this year. It's a lot of the pressure last year was, we got to get to that MAC championship. This year, it's a lot of emphasis on just the next game, taking the next step. And, I think that keeps the players, focused at the task at hand and not worried about in the long run.
We haven't had a chance to see the freshman offensive line. Obviously, put it with those guys over there. Can you talk a little bit about some of the young guys and how they're progressing so far?
Yeah, they're coming along really well.
Any standouts?
Yeah, we got Rob Lazowski. He's in the same class as Jeff Myers and Greg Mance and them. And he comes in on our heavy package. He's been doing really well. But then for the freshmen, Paul Pershone's been looking pretty good. And Storm Norton, we think can be a good player for us down the line.
Can you talk about how much Cheatham has developed over the last year or so, and how impressed were you with the performance he put on the other day?
Cheatham had a great performance this past game. Cheatham always been a playmaker for us. He played a lot his freshman year. He played safety. We used him at corner too also. But everybody knew the talent Cheatham had. He came in with a big name when he was in high school. But the sky's the limit for Cheatham. He's a great player. I'm happy to be out there playing with him. He made a couple great plays. They try to crack me a couple times this week because they know I'm on the box a lot, and he was there for the tackle. So that shows a lot about Cheatham and his resilience, and he's going to be a great player, and he's a good guy too outside football.
Can you talk about your guys' performance as a defense? This is the fewest points you guys gave up in almost a year since you guys played at Temple. What was it like for you guys coming into that game against BC?
We just took it. It's a rival game, so you can get hype. We could have went out there the first series. We could have been so into the rivalry and missed a couple checks and stuff. We just played our game. We just got back to the basics. We just got back to fundamentals, tackling, communicating, and stuff like that. So, I mean, to keep them under 15 points, you know, it's always good because, I mean, Bowling Green, they has a great offense. You know, he went down there in Florida, gave them a game, and then put up 21 points against Idaho. I mean, Schultz is a good quarterback, and for us to keep him to 15 points in 4 quarters, I mean, you can't ask for much more.
Did you, when you're seeing Cheatham floating back and forth, did you see one position that you thought he was better at, that he was more skilled at?
Not really. I mean, Cheatham could play corner, safety, played nickel first 2 games. You know, I mean, it's better to be able to play corner and safety because if you know what the safety doing, you basically know what you're doing. So to know what's going on behind you and also know what you're doing at corner helps you out a lot. And I think that's good. That's what helped him even better. He knows what I'm doing, so he knows where he can, you know, take a play here and there where he makes an opportunity, you know, to get an extra player, not because you know I'm behind him and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's always good to play both positions, to know both positions. You should anyway at corner because it helps you out in the long run.
Going up to that game, what were some things you guys actually worked on defensively? I mean, before the first 2 games, you gave up over 340 yards passing, and I believe it was under 300 against BG. What were some things that you guys had worked on?
I mean, we just basically got back to fundamentals, you know, just cluing our drops, you know, our techniques and getting better at safety on our halves and tackling. I mean, everybody's running 4 receiver sets, so, I mean, guys are going to put up the numbers. It's just about keeping them out of the end zone. So if we keep them out of the end zone, they could have 700 yards. If they only put up 14 points with 700 yards, I mean, it really doesn't add up. We just got back to our tackling. We just got back to the things that you got to do as a defense, you know, running to the ball. And we really owned in on them this week, and that's why we came out with that win.
As a defensive player, do you rather face, especially as a defensive back, would you rather face a quarterback who's a dual threat or a guy who can stand in the pocket and can put up yards on you guys? Because in the MAC, you kind of have a mix of both those guys, but this weekend you're going to have a guy that's a dual threat.
The dual threat, he could provide him a little bit more problems because he could get outside the pocket. You know, when you get out, them quarterbacks get outside the pocket, the coverages kind of break down. You know, because y'all worry about the receivers going back to they're taught to come back to the quarterback, and then some of them's taught to go break deep. So, I mean, we're going to have to we're going to have to work on just, you know, standing in our zones, keeping everything in front of us, matching up routes, matching up receivers when he scramble, and then our D-line just got to keep him in a pocket. So, I mean, we seen that the first 2 weeks, and, you know, we also see in the practice while us and the TO, they could get outside the pocket. So we stay in our rush lanes, and then in the back end, we don't try to cheat and come up and make underneath plays, then we should be okay.
With you being the veteran guy on defense, I want to ask you, what do you see the difference between Campbell and Zac Kerin?
I mean, Coach Campbell, he's more involved in everything. You know, we might be doing safety drills, and he comes out of nowhere and jumps into drills. You know, he's a little bit more involved. I mean, he lets our defensive coaches do their thing. You know, he really doesn't bother with the defense just much, but he's more like a motivator. Just come over to the sideline, tell us, like, you know, we're going to stop him, you know, write your story and stuff like that. I mean, he's a great guy. He's young. He's enthusiastic. I mean, he's fun to play with, you know. He's more positive than negative, you know. You really have to worry about coming to the side. Like, as a player, you don't come to the sideline and hear anything as far as your head coach jumping down on you. I mean, he just says next play, and he just gives a great motivation. He's just a great guy overall.